We had made our way around to the churches and the food pantries, when we had went to our neighbor's house to eat dinner and even use the restroom because we didn't have any water. It felt like once all of those options had been exhausted, it would be a Friday night, which meant that we didn't have school to take care of us for at least a little while. And I can picture Kirsty clear as day asking, Alyson, what's for breakfast in the morning? And it started to become really clear to me. You know, I may not have the position, I may not have the title, but I can take ownership of this. I can make life better for all of us. And so whenever that money would come in, whenever my sign was that the cabinets and the refrigerator would be full, I knew that I had a choice to make. And if I can be honest with you here, this is not a choice that I would recommend that you or your children or your grandchildren, I wouldn't recommend that my children would make this choice, but at the time it was the only option that I had to take care of the people around me, to take care of my team, my community, my little family. And so I would stay up at night. When that money came in, I would stay up and I would lay in bed with my sister and I would wait for her to fall asleep. And then I would wait for my brother across the hall. Eventually, whenever the radio would turn off, I knew he was asleep. And then I would wait for my dad, who slept in the living room on the couch. Whenever I could hear Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson saying, "Do you smell what The Rock is cooking?" I knew, okay, I can hear that over everything else, so it's time for me to move. He must be home, but not there really. And so I'd slide out of the bed, being sure not to wake my sister up, and I would make my way down to the hallway. And I remember looking down the hallway, and it was dark. And this was a time where, back in the 1900s, when people still smoked in their house. Do y'all remember that? I remember our house was smoky. So looking down the hallway, it was dark. It was smoky. There was a loud TV blaring and flashing blue down the hallway. I remember it being terrifying as a little kid, but I thought, I've got to do something. And so my kids would say, I would make my way down the hall like a ninja, like this, little steps. Don't wake anybody up. And I would peek around the corner and make sure that my dad was out of it. And I'd run over to the coffee table and I'd open up his wallet and I'd pull out $20. And I'd run as fast as I could back to my bedroom and I'd stick that $20 in the back of my drawer, under a t-shirt or some clothes. And then I'd wait. It'd be a couple of weeks, maybe even 3 if we were lucky. But eventually the cabinets would be bare. We would have made our way to all the churches, to friends, neighbors, strangers' house, and we'd end up with we'd have nothing. And Kirsty would say to me again, she would ask, what are we going to eat tomorrow? Are we going to have snacks, this and that? And I could tell her, because I owned it, yeah, everything's going to be fine. And I'd wait again for her to fall asleep, for my brother across the hall to fall asleep, and then eventually my dad. And I'd make my way right back down that hallway. And I'd take that $20 that was in my drawer and I'd go put it back into my dad's wallet. You know, I never remember my dad waking up and thinking, who took my money? But what I do remember is that my dad would wake up and we would know it was like this impending doom that we had gotten to this point. And I would come into the living room and I'd say, Dad, just check your wallet one more time. Just check it one more time. And he never caught on, but he would open it up and there the money would be again. I don't know that I could feed my family on $20 a weekend, but we made it work then. And I learned a really valuable lesson. That when we're willing to take ownership, when maybe we shouldn't have to, when maybe it seems scary, when maybe we don't know if we're even making the right decision, if we're uncovering the need and serving the need, we might just create a more successful team.